Linda first understood how much strength she had lost on a Tuesday morning. When she tried to lift a full laundry basket and her arms trembled, her knees complained, and she had to set it down halfway across the room, breathing hard, staring at the floor as a single thought crossed her mind. Is this what getting old feels like? She was 66, a woman who had once carried toddlers on her hip and hauled grocery bags up 2 flights of stairs without thinking, proud of being the one in her family who never needed help. But lately her body had started to argue with that old story. Her thighs burned when she climbed even a short set of stairs. Her grip felt weaker when she opened jars, and when she rose from the couch, she often had to rock forward twice before her legs would fully push her up. One afternoon, her daughter Anna watched her stand from a chair, saw the small wince, and said gently, "Mom, when did getting up become this hard?" And Linda tried to laugh it off, saying, "Oh, that is just what happens after 60. But deep down the words stung. That night she lay in bed, replaying little moments from the week, the time she chose the elevator instead of the stairs at the mall, the way she had leaned on the cart at the supermarket, the tiny fear that flickered every time she stepped off a curb, wondering what would happen if her legs simply did not catch her one day. A few days later, Anna sent her a short message with a link and a note that read, "Please just watch this, Mom. It is a physical therapist talking about strength after 60. And though Linda almost ignored it, curiosity and concern finally won. In the video, a calm woman around 40 stood beside a sturdy chair and said, "If you are over 60 and feel weaker each year, it is not just age, it is silent strength loss. And there are 3 simple exercises every woman should start before it is too late." The phrase "before it is too late" lodged in Linda's mind, not as scare tactics, but as a quiet warning, because she already sensed that each year of lost muscle made it harder to get it back. At her next checkup, she brought it up with her own physical therapist, a tall woman named Dr. Patel, and said, "My legs feel weaker, and I am afraid of where this is heading." And Dr. Patel nodded thoughtfully before replying, "Linda, most women over 60 are never shown the 3 core strength moves their bodies need to stay independent. They are told to walk more, which is good for the heart. But walking alone does not rebuild the muscles that lift you from chairs, steady you on stairs, or protect you from a fall." Linda felt a chill of recognition as Dr. Patel continued. "The good news is you are not too late, but we do need to start now, because after 60, unused muscles shrink faster, bones thin more quickly, and every year you wait makes climbing back much harder. I want to show you the first strength exercise today, the one that quietly decides whether you can get off a couch, off a toilet, or out of a car without help in the years ahead." Dr. Patel moved a sturdy chair to the center of the small room and said, "This first exercise looks simple, but it is the foundation for your independence. It is called the sit to stand, and it trains the exact muscles you use every time you get out of a chair, off a toilet, or out of bed." She asked Linda to sit, feet flat on the floor, knees bent, hands resting lightly on her thighs, back straight against the chair, then added, "Right now, many women your age push off their chairs with their hands or pull on tables without thinking. And every time they do that, their legs lose another tiny chance to stay strong. We are going to teach your legs to work again." Linda swallowed, suddenly aware of how often she had done exactly that, then listened as Dr. Patel continued. "Here is how you will do it safely at home. Scoot to the front half of the chair. Keep your feet under your knees. Lean your chest slightly forward. And press your feet into the floor as if you are pushing it away. Then stand up without using your hands if you can." Linda followed the instructions, feeling the front of her thighs and her hips work harder than they had in a long time. A slow burning effort that surprised her, and as she reached standing, she noticed her hands hovering in the air, wanting to grab something but not needing to. "Good," Dr. Patel said. "Now slowly sit back down with control. Do not drop. Feel your muscles hold you as you lower. This downward part is as important as the upward part, because it trains your legs to catch you if you ever start to fall." Linda lowered herself, trying not to plop into the chair, and felt a deeper pull in her legs. Not painful, but clearly unused. "How many of these should I do?" she asked, slightly breathless, and Dr. Patel replied, "For this first week, I want you to do 8 to 10 sit-to-stands once a day, always from a sturdy chair that does not roll, and always with something solid nearby, like a counter table, so you can touch it if you feel unsteady." She paused, then added, "If you cannot rise without using your hands at first, that is fine. Use your hands to help a little, but keep trying to give more of the work to your legs. Over days and weeks, your body will remember how to do this." Linda nodded slowly, feeling a mix of doubt and hope, and said, "Just this one exercise can really make a difference." And Dr. Patel answered, "Yes. Research shows that leg strength from this simple movement is closely tied to future independence. Women who practice it regularly are more likely to stay in their own homes, less likely to end up in long-term care, because they can still rise when it matters." On the way home, the words "rise when it matters" echoed in Linda's mind, and that evening she stood in front of her own favorite chair, placed a hand lightly on the nearby table for safety, and tried her first set alone, counting each slow stand and each careful sit, feeling her muscles complain but also wake in a way they had not in years. 2 weeks later, on a quiet Saturday morning, Linda stood in front of that same favorite chair and realized something small but important had changed. She no longer needed to think through every step of the sit to stand. Her body now knew the pattern: feet under knees, Lean forward, press into the floor, and rise. She still felt effort, especially by the 8th or ninth repetition, but the heavy weakness that had scared her at the start was softer now, replaced by a steady burn that somehow felt like progress. One afternoon, she carried a basket of folded towels from the bedroom to the hallway and noticed, with quiet surprise, that she did not have to stop halfway. Her legs held her arms did not tremble as much, and the fear of dropping everything had eased. At her follow-up session, Dr. Patel listened to these small victories, then said, "That is your first strength win. Linda, you have started to reclaim the muscles that lift you. Now we will add the second exercise, the one that protects your back and hips every time you bend." She stepped to a counter in the clinic and placed her hands on it, then asked Linda to stand beside her, feet hip width, knees soft, not locked, and continued. "This move is called a hip hing. It trains the back of your legs and your glutes, the powerful muscles that should handle most of the work when you bend to pick something up, tie your shoes, or reach into a low cabinet. Without this pattern, many women over 60 bend from the spine instead, and that is how they hurt their backs." She demonstrated slowly, pushing her hips back as if closing a drawer behind her, keeping her back long and chest open. Then returning to standing, saying, "Notice how my hips move first, not my knees. My spine stays straight. All the bending comes from my hip joints. This teaches your body to protect your spine and use the muscle groups that also keep you stable if you trip." Linda copied, her hands on the counter, feeling unsure at first, then sensing the stretch in the backs of her thighs and a gentle pull in her glutes as she hinged back and returned upright. "It feels strange," she admitted. "I am used to just bending forward from my waist." And Dr. Patel nodded, replying, "Most people are. That is why their backs protest. But once your hips learn this movement, your legs and glutes will share the load again, reducing strain on your knees and spine while also improving your balance." She gave Linda clear homework at home. Stand at your kitchen counter, feet planted, hands resting lightly. Practice 10 slow hip hinges once a day. Push your hips back, pause for a second, then stand tall again. Always stop if you feel sharp pain, but expect a mild stretch and some muscle effort. Over time, this will make picking things up safer and easier. That evening, Linda stood at her own counter, the smell of dinner still in the air, and practiced her first set, feeling slightly silly at first, then strangely proud as her body began to understand the pattern. Hips back, pause, stand tall 10 times. A week later, she noticed she could reach the lower shelves without that familiar stab in her lower back, and she could lean down to pat her neighbor's small dog without fearing she would not get up smoothly. Little by little, the world below her knees no longer felt like forbidden territory. At the next visit, Dr. Patel smiled and said, "You have now built the first 2 pillars, rising from chairs and bending with strength. Today we add the third exercise, the one that quietly guards you against falls." She led Linda to the back of a sturdy chair and asked her to stand behind it, both hands resting on the top for safety, then explained, "This is a supported split stance hold, a gentle balance and strength drill. It trains your front leg and your stabilizing muscles to keep you steady when your weight shifts, like when you step off a curb, move around furniture, or catch yourself from a small slip." She asked Linda to place her right foot a small step forward and her left foot a small step back, both toes pointing ahead, heels down, then said, "Bend your front knee just a little. Like the start of a step, keep your back heel on the floor. Hold this position while you breathe slowly. Feel how your front thigh works and how your body makes tiny adjustments to stay stable." Linda felt an immediate effort in her front leg, a gentle pull in her calf, and a surprising amount of focus as she held for a slow count of 10, hands resting on the chair but not gripping hard. "This is harder than it looks," she said with a small laugh, and Dr. Patel replied, "That is why it works. This simple hold trains your balance system in a safe way. And the strength you build here helps you recover when the ground is uneven or your foot does not land exactly where you planned." She gave Linda her final set of instructions. 8 home. "I want you to hold this split stance for 10 slow counts on each leg, once a day, always with a sturdy chair or counter. Start with a very small bend in the front knee, and as you feel stronger, you can bend a bit more, but never so much that you feel pain or deep wobbling." Over the next weeks, Linda practiced all 3 moves: sit to stand at her favorite chair, hip hinge at the kitchen counter, and split stance holds behind a sturdy dining chair, sometimes feeling tired, sometimes questioning whether these quiet actions could really change anything. But then new moments slowly appeared. She climbed the stairs at the community center without pulling on the rail. She carried a heavier bag of groceries from the car without stopping. She turned quickly to answer the phone without that sudden panic that her legs might not follow. One rainy afternoon, as she stepped carefully off a wet curb, her right foot slipped just a little, and she felt her body tip forward, but her front leg caught her. Hips shifted back, muscles fired in a pattern that now felt familiar, and she steadied herself without hitting the ground, her heart racing, her breath shaky, but her feet still under her. That night, sitting with a warm cup of tea, she thought about what might have happened a month earlier, when her legs were weaker, her hips untrained, her balance unused, and a quiet wave of gratitude moved through her chest. If a woman like her, over 60, sitting at home with tired legs and a growing fear of what might happen next, were listening now, she would say, "Do not wait until a fall forces you to pay attention. Start with these 3 simple exercises, with a sturdy chair or counter. Talk to your doctor or physical therapist if you are unsure, but give your body a chance to answer back. As you think about Linda's story, you might see your own days inside it. The way you rise slowly from the couch, lean on a cart at the store, or hesitate at the top of stairs. And if any of that feels familiar, today could be the day you begin, even with just a few sit-to-stands or a small split stance hold. When you are ready, you can share in the comments which part of her journey feels most like yours. Maybe the moment with the laundry, or the fear on the steps, or the first little victory, because your words can encourage another woman who feels alone in her struggle. And before you go, remember these 3 strength exercises are just the start. There is another simple routine using only a wall and your own body weight that many therapists now teach to build even more leg strength, core stability, and better posture after 60. It looks gentle, but when done correctly, it supports everything you began here. So be sure to watch the next video on your screen and let it guide you through that next important step toward a stronger, safer, more confident life.